Hi, it's Emma. Welcome to the latest episode. Today I'm interviewing Fatin from Maxamaze. We're talking all things Amazon product listing optimization. So everything from SEO to CTR to CRO. In other words, how to get more shoppers buying your product over the competition. Let's dig in. Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Amazon Profitability Problem Solved podcast. I'm your host, Emma Bagley, and today I'm delighted to interview Fatin from Maxamaze, a listing optimization and content creation agency. She works with some amazing brands in the US and UK and possibly internationally. So Fatos, if you can kind of more formally introduce yourself and tell us more about your agency and the brands and countries that you support in.
Okay. Hello, I'm Fatos from Maxamaze. We're an Amazon creative agency. I'm based in London, but we work with a global client base, primarily in the US, actually. So a lot of US clients and some UK and European clients as well. And we cover the size spectrum from global brands to startups literally launching their first product and everything in between.
And is there any category specialism that you have or are most passionate about?
We work with every product category. But in terms of, products that I love working with, products like supplements, health and beauty brands, home and kitchen, household cleaning, those sorts of products are very relatable. So I love working with those products. But yeah, we cover everything pretty much.
Wonderful. And I'm really interested in talking to you today about creative and how that needs to be localized to different international marketplaces. So what might stand out and convert really well in the US versus the UK? I'll hope to kind of pick your brains on that later. Looking forward to getting started. Let's launch into the main questions. Let's start off with problems. What problems do most brands come to you with, and what are they usually getting wrong before they speak with you?
It's very much dependent on the size of the client. Usually private label brands, sort of relatively smaller brands, they will come and say, we want to sell more. Not enough sales is the problem. With bigger brands, because Amazon is such a specific platform, these huge brands have marketing plans, etc., but they don't necessarily have an understanding of how the platform works. So there isn't that expertise. And the problem there usually is different to what we see with the smaller brands. It's how is the brand showing up? How are we presenting a uniform front? Our listings, are they tying into our storefront? Do we have A+ content? A lot of them don't even know what A+ content is, let alone what is basic versus premium, what is brand story. So, and again, overall, surprisingly, a lot of those big brands, their content isn't optimized because this is just another channel. It's not a focus, and they don't necessarily appreciate how important that channel is. So they're not making the most of it. So it's a much bigger sort of branding strategy exercise as opposed to, a smaller brand where it's a case of we want to sell more. That's our problem.
Thank you. And how do you win those kind of bigger clients over? I mean, I've got experience talking to brands that just want to put onto Amazon what's on their D2C website, for example, or not invest budget in refreshing, optimizing, testing their A+ content or whatever elements might be on that product detail page because of an it's expensive, isn't it? It's expensive to go through that process of research, your creative strategy, and then actually delivering the creative. So how do you go about persuading?
A big audit. Usually a lot of time gets invested. So we do a deep dive into their content. We show them what best practices look like. We show them numbers, before and after results that we've had for other clients, and just show them the difference that we can make to their bottom line. And in the end, the numbers are what talks. Everybody understands that.
Mm. And do you kind of recommend that they focus on refreshing their hero SKUs first to kind of see the impact?
Yes. Yeah. We'll start and we have a very, our approach is let's just show you with one or two proof of concept and then win their confidence and then go from there. And it always works.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So next question then, where do you see brands over investing time or budget without getting a return?
Without a doubt is PPC. Yeah. Because
I agree.
Yeah, there's still this notion that, spend money on advertising, that's going to drive your sales, but it's changed so much. It's really not the game. You need to get your fundamentals working first before you start doing that.
Yeah, I agree. You can, obviously we're a PPC agency as well. No matter how fantastic your advertising strategy is, you drive in traffic to the listing. If that listing is not converting, you are just wasting money and impacting your profitability. Yeah,
completely.
I totally, absolutely agree. That's hard for some brands to swallow as well, isn't it? Because they're spending, often these big brands are spending so much in PPC, and then to win that argument of, okay, but really to improve that profitability of your PPC, you've got to then invest more money into refreshing, updating, optimizing your listing. It's a tough pill to swallow sometimes. So where does your approach make the biggest difference to performance or margin? We've talked a little bit in the last question, but maybe show us some kind of stats, or even perhaps show us some examples of where you've really had that biggest difference in performance, whether that is sales, whether that's profit, conversion, whatever metric you've been focusing on.
Yeah. So for me, conversion is number one. Click through is really important, obviously, but if people are going to click into your listing and then they're going to leave without buying, you are going to be wasting your advertising money and you're also going to be damaging your rankings. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to drive traffic and we don't want to get people clicking until we know that we're doing everything we can to make sure that they're going to buy the product. You're going to drive conversion. So, the first thing that I recommend when somebody asks is get your image stack ready. If you've got a limited budget, best practices, you need a really good quality video on your listing as well. But if you haven't got the budget to stretch to that and you want the quickest fix, improving your image stack, especially slots 2, 3, and 4, really, really critical. Get that right. And then that gives you the foundation to build on. And we follow an image and storytelling formula that always works. So, yeah.
Can you let us into any kind of secrets there around 2, 3, and 4?
Yeah, I mean, I can. Would you like me to share and just maybe talk through? Yeah,
yes, please.
Okay, let's do this. I hope I'm doing this right. Okay, so for example, this listing, and not all of the slots are used here, but the storytelling formula here is obviously an optimized main image. It's very clearly showing what the product is, packaging, and adding these sort of extra little tags, highlighting key things people are searching for when they're buying a supplement like this. It's about energy, metabolism, cellular protection, just having as much information as possible there, and also making sure that the listing stands out on the search results page. So that's our hero image to get the click through. But what I was getting at previously was what happens in these slots, 2, 3, 4. In this slot here, the first thing that we want to do is to communicate and connect with the shopper on their pain point or whatever it is that they're looking for when they're looking at this product. So this is a supplement that is aimed at slightly more mature women, sort of perimenopausal, menopausal, boosting energy, focus, all of those things. So, your first class ticket to feeling fabulous is the tagline that's going to catch their attention, because they're looking for something that is going to make them feel fabulous, and then briefly telling them what the product is. Visually, we're communicating that message. There's a woman here standing on the beach. She's clearly feeling happy, liberated, and it's a very positive message. And it's calm as well, the sea, the beach, and just very quickly communicating key attributes of the product. So boost energy and vitality, supports focus, helps protect against oxidative stress, promotes healthy aging from within. So again, using icons, not too much text, because people have short attention spans. A lot of time they're shopping on mobile. So we don't want to lose their interest. So just trying to communicate message visually. So first image, we're just telling them, this is why you want this product. This is what it's going to do for you. And then the next image, we want to expand on that a little bit. So we're saying feel energized, focused, and resilient every day. So we're telling them what the product does with the ultimate healthy aging formula. And then how does it do it? We're going into the key ingredients and highlighting those. So NAD plus support, vitamin C, vitamin D3, B complex. We're just breaking that down, telling them what they get in the product. The NAD plus support is a key selling point. So we want to inform and educate. And this is all about removing doubt, removing friction in the shopping journey, telling the shopper exactly what they're getting. And so going into more detail about how that NAD plus works. And then always kind of keeping it relatable. The images of women that we're using are not 18-year-olds. They are women of the right age profile. So the shopper who's looking at this product wants to be able to relate to the people that she sees in the listing. Your daily reset, we're just saying 1 capsule a day. It's easy to take. There's this calm, happy looking lady here. With supplements, we have to break down. We have to show the back of pack information, but again, adding in icons and call outs here that are important, so that it's suitable for vegetarians. Made in the UK is a selling point for a lot of people. So highlighting all of those kinds of things. And then this particular product is at a higher price point, and what isn't immediately obvious to shoppers is that you get 2 months supply, whereas a lot of the competition are only supplying 1 month's worth. So it was really important to highlight this so that shoppers know that actually you're paying a bit more, but actually you're getting double. So it is still really good value for money. And that was something that was really key that we communicated. And trust, any awards are great for driving, building trust and driving sales and conversion. So, these sorts of things need to be included. So, this is kind of the general storytelling formula that we would work to. And same thing would apply to something like a green tea, a matcha green tea. And again, it's the same thing. Key benefit, you want to open with that. Focus, energize, and thrive naturally. That's why people are looking for matcha, because they want that focus, the energy straight away, giving them that message, making very clear it's organic, it's ceremonial grade, what it does very quickly, energy without the crashes, rich in antioxidants, all of those things. And then go through the, again, expanding on the fact it's shade grown, it's organic, etc. This is where it comes from. And then people also want to know with a product like this, you know, the flavor profile. What does it taste like? All of those details. And then how to prepare for a product like this, because negative reviews, returns are something that we need to avoid. And as well as driving sales, avoiding post-purchase negative feedback is a big part of what we do. And it's really, really important. So this is how you prepare it to get the best result. And these are all the different ways in which you can enjoy it. That message is really important. And then again, versatility, all the different ways you can use this product. The more reasons people have to buy it, the more likely we are to get the sale. So we're just communicating that you can have it in your morning latte, you can have it post-workout, you can even bake with it. And again, you know, for a brand like this where they've got lots and lots of products, cross-selling, showing the product range, we make sure that we include that information. So this is just a couple of different products, examples of how we approach building the image stack.
Thank you. I want to buy both those products now. Thank you for sharing those.
I know.
And really, something I'm really passionate about is listing optimization and conversion optimization. To me, those images told the story of the brand and gave me, as the potential shopper, an amazing feeling of what I would get from buying that product, tasting that product, eating that product, having that supplement, how I would feel, how that transformation I would feel and benefit from if I regularly took those supplements. So every detail from in that supplement, that the lady's fingernails, they weren't painted like mine are today, but they were painted in a healthy, it showed vitality, the beautiful look on her face, well, like you say, wasn't a teenager. It was somebody of an age that they're targeting. And she looked well, she looked calm, she looked in control, everything that you kind of want from that age when you're at that age. And so like the award winning, the constant different messages that were just reassuring me, every single image was kind of like, oh, it's given me, like, these are the main benefits. This is what I get from this product. This is why I should take this product. It's how I'm going to feel. And absolutely, this is like social proof or like award-winning proof. It's confirmation at the end that I'm making the right rational decision. So there's emotional and rational kind of factors there at play that just convince from that whole storytelling from image 2 to 6 is just, get it sold. And the matcha one was just beautiful. It just said Japanese. It was just saying healthy. It was just saying, pure ceremonial grade. It's just, it was just constantly building trust. This is the product that's just not come from, this mass produced. It was produced with care and attention and thought, and it makes me want to buy that kind of product. So thank you for sharing those. So next question then, if someone listening fixed just one thing on their listing, and we're talking probably here about conversion optimization. So if they could just fix one thing this quarter based on what you see every day from all the brands that you work with, what should it be? Difficult question, again, I appreciate.
Yeah. I mean, I think as I said before, like the number one thing that you need to make sure is right is those first few images in your listing image stack. So that is number one thing. What is changing and changing very quickly is how the Amazon search engine, AI engine, all of it operates. And what it is all about now is about recommendation. It's about getting Rufus to recommend your product. So whereas in the past it was all about keywords, now it's all about intent. And what the algorithm is ultimately looking at is customer satisfaction right at the end of that line. And you need to make sure that people buying your product are having a positive experience, because, you know, repeat purchase behavior, positive reviews, those are the sort of things that are now going to help surface your product. You know, traditional SEO isn't dead. You know, your keywords still need to be there. Your title needs to be optimized, your bullets, everything. But what is really, really important now is to get Rufus to suggest your product. And Rufus is going to suggest your product if the information is there, if your listing is answering the questions. That's what's really, really important. So this whole Cosmo and Rufus framework, you need to make sure that your listings are optimized for AI to see it, to find it, and to recommend it. So yeah, Amazon is a recommendation engine rather than a search engine more and more. I think that's what everybody really needs to be very aware of.
In my opinion, nothing's really changed with this whole move with Cosmo and Rufus, because if you're a brand that's investing in a product, it's basic marketing. You've got to have a great product, priced accordingly, promoted and communicated well and effectively. And Amazon has always been the same. Amazon wants to sell. Amazon wants to earn money. Amazon wants to promote the right product to the right person so that sales are made and Amazon earns money. So everything that you're feeding that product detail page, whether it's your keyword, but your imagery, fantastic. But at the end of the day, if you haven't got a good product, you're not going to get recommended. Yeah. So it's all of these elements together. But I just don't think it's anything new. You hear all these kind of gurus on LinkedIn, and it's all about, you've got to optimize, and you've got to do this, and you've got to make sure your attribute. It's just best practice that's been always there. It's nothing new. The only thing I would say from my experience that's changing is, and I've never liked it anyway, is keyword stuffing. Like, who as a shopper wants to read a listing that doesn't make sense? So it's just good marketing and brand building practice. It hasn't changed.
It is.
But I think the Amazon gurus in the world are suggesting that it's changing and is going to have significant impact on listings. If you've always been well thought through, always designed for the shopper in mind, your product or your listing page, it's just carry on as normal, in my opinion. So, I agree. Thank you. Okay, so looking ahead, talking about Amazon gurus, we hear a lot about AI. It's across the world. Everybody's talking about AI. So I don't want to steer you in that direction with this question, but looking ahead, what do you think will really matter most on Amazon in the next 6 to 12 months, more than perhaps people realized today?
So the AI conversation is everywhere, and it is, it is relevant in a lot of places, and we use it, everybody uses it, but like on the AI question alone, we still have human designers. It's not all automated. We use AI as an aid, but not as the primary tool. But I think what's going to matter really over the next 6 to 12 months is, the way products are being suggested on Amazon. Rufus isn't just looking at what's just within the Amazon platform. The information comes from all over the internet. So brands need to take a more holistic view of how they show up, where they show up. So, you can't just be an Amazon native brand that is only seen on Amazon. You need to be everywhere. So I think that is one shift and one thing, because when I started selling on Amazon way back when, you were just on Amazon. in those days, there wasn't TikTok anyway, but it didn't matter if you didn't have a D2C site or you weren't on Pinterest or Instagram or Facebook or wherever. So, how you're showing up on Reddit or where you are on Pinterest or your D2C site, all of that information is being pulled to surface your product on Amazon. So you need to be very focused and mindful of that as you build your strategy, I think.
That is really, really good advice. Chatting later today with somebody who's an expert at driving traffic off Amazon to Amazon. I see that being it's been changing, evolving over the last kind of like few years anyway. But so he's going to be very much talking about the importance of driving the off traffic to an Amazon listing. But then what you're saying is all of that off traffic, whether it's, it could even be like, influencers, for example, or like you say, like Pinterest, Reddit, wherever, but it's having the same consistent brand message as well.
Yeah.
So whether you're driving the traffic to Amazon, whether you're on Amazon, whether you're driving, from D2C, wherever it is, all of these different touch points have to say the same message. How are you going to be unique? How do you meet shoppers' needs better than the competition? My fear is that brands that invest heavily in AI for speed and efficiency, which I absolutely think is, AI is great for that. But without the thought process of, working with people like you that go through like the creative strategy and intelligence to build a brand that stands out, that converts, that taps into, consumer psychology, then you are just going to be the same as everybody else. So wherever you are on Amazon or that, the online or offline space, if you haven't gone through that thought process to how your product is going to stand out and be different to the competition, then you're just going to be generic, and generic never sells, right?
No. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I think now is the time to invest more in branding than less. So yes, but that's a separate episode. So over to the quick fire round now. This is my favorite part of the podcast. There is no right answer. There is absolutely no right answer. I'm just going to give you a couple of options, and I just want you to say your opinion and then why. Okay. So first question, really easy for you, I think. Main hero image. So in terms of impact, main hero image or gallery images?
Gallery first, main hero later.
Okay, explain.
I think we talked about this earlier. You can have an amazing main image, people click on it, and then it's like you see a beautiful shop, the window looks great, and you go inside and there's nothing there. If the image stack isn't doing the job, you don't want people to come into your listing because you're just going to waste money. So
bleed money on that PPC.
Yeah.
Okay, second question then. In terms of A+ content, okay, is it more or less important than gallery images for conversion?
Your gallery images are, A+ content is really important, and we've seen significant uplift when it's been optimized. But A+ content is further down the page. The first thing people see is your image stack, the gallery. If you haven't captured them there, they're not even going to make it to the A+ content. So that's where you need to get them.
Yeah. Some people actually in the Amazon space think that A+ content actually isn't important at all, which goes, this is certainly not my belief. But what do you think A+ content does really well? Why should brand invest?
It takes up more space on the page. It's more of your brand for them to engage with, because the page is so crowded. You've got all these other ads popping up. There's too much going on the page. So the more of your content there is, the better. just for that very simple reason. But it is also great because you have a lot more space, especially with premium A plus content. You've got carousels, so you're multiplying the space that you have. You've got a video module, you've got hotspots, just a great way to expand upon your product. So for example, if we talk about that supplement example, what a great way to expand upon all of those ingredients, extra space. You could have a carousel module for each one of those. So you can explain how they work. Cross-selling as well. You've got extra space. You can show other products that are in the range. There's a Q&A module, which is great for removing friction, because one of the biggest conversion killers is doubt. If people are wondering, is this safe to use around pets? If your listing hasn't answered that question, that's something they're concerned about, they're going to go to the next listing. It just gives you more space to make sure that you're just basically not leaving any unanswered questions.
Yeah, it's great. I love that Q&A section. I think it's also good for feeding the Rufus with more information about the product as well, and the brand. So yeah, absolutely. That's one of my favorite modules, actually. Okay, true or false? Video is king on Amazon.
It is true. Moving images capture attention. So video sponsored brand ads get great, they get great click through, they get great conversion, and having video on your listing, on your E+, absolutely. Yeah.
Using AI for image creation will kill or cure the profitability problem? That's a big question, sorry.
I have mixed feelings about this. I think a lot of people have kind of jumped on the bandwagon of, oh, it's great, you can AI generate images and that's the problem solved. So I think there's a false sense of security for a lot of people. I see all these AI generated images where people look bizarre, models look bizarre. The expressions are very strange on their faces. It's all a bit freaky and it's off-putting. So I think it needs a very proficient driver to drive that car. It's not just click a button and whatever comes out is okay.
Good answer. I think it's great for idea generation. I believe people buy from people, and if the people in the images don't look real, there's no person behind those eyes. I don't think there's that same connection, which I think will kill conversion. But I'm sure that will improve in the future, but just not right now for me. It's not doing it for me. True or false? Amazon is a necessary evil for luxury brands.
Yeah, yes, I think so. I mean, a lot of luxury brands didn't want to be on Amazon, but more and more they are. And I think, yes, they do need to be on Amazon.
So it's not a true or false or yes or no final question here, but what is, in your opinion, the most overrated Amazon growth tactic right now?
Yeah, so the whole Q&A thing, actually, Rufus is the feeding the Q&A, building in questions for Rufus, I think isn't really how it is working, because Rufus is mapping behavior. It's looking at behavior. It's looking at reviews, it's recommending a product. So, putting the Q&A in for Rufus to read it, I think isn't the strategy necessarily, because Rufus will see that, but it is mainly looking at behavior to recommend products.
Yeah, maybe I didn't explain myself properly, but I find the Q&A great because what we do is look at what Rufus is asking, what Rufus already knows about our product, what Rufus knows about the category, and then weave in those kind of questions, because by knowing what Rufus knows about us if there's any gaps, but if you're finding out what Rufus is most asked by consumers, if you can kind of weave that in a clever way into your Q&A, then it's kind of not only for Rufus, but it's asking the questions that shoppers are already asking about the category wide or about your own listing as well. So I think there's just some really clever ways of building in. Yeah. So I don't mean keyword stuffing or anything like that, or for SEO purposes, but more just to educate again as another element to be educated, but also to help the customer be educated. So you say like prevent any negative reviews in the future, because you answered all of those questions. If you haven't been able to do it through your gallery images or A+ content.
It's removing the likelihood of a negative review by somebody buying the product without being fully informed about it. So it definitely helps for that. Yes, it has lots and lots of benefits, but I think it doesn't directly impact what Rufus is going to say about your product, because it's looking at reviews and purchase behavior and recommending on that basis mostly. So
I'm working with one client at the moment who Rufus keeps picking up on really incorrect information about a review that had clearly been written by a customer, 12, 18 months ago, that wasn't about their product, but it keeps showing up in Rufus. And that is so frustrating because it's factually incorrect. So we're looking at how to override that with other information. But it's the same as any kind of AI tool, isn't it? It's like this, what is being fed and how it's kind of like evaluating, consolidating all that information. This wrong information is being fed, whether it's from a negative customer review or wherever. And it's just going to be so impactful for the output that Rufus generates and other AI platforms as well. Yeah.
I know it's not easy. It's not as straightforward as it sounds. It's just,
But marketing basics 101, get your product right so you have good reviews.
Yeah. If you've got a good product and you're giving the customer honest, accurate information, then you should be absolutely fine. And I think honesty always really important.
Yeah, absolutely. So that kind of concludes the formal questions, Fatos. So thank you so very much for your time. If anybody, I highly recommend everybody connect with you on LinkedIn, but where else can they learn more about you and your company and how they can work with you?
So LinkedIn is a very easy way to find me, but also via our website, maxamaze.co, not .com. There's a messaging link through there. My email's also on there, so anyone can connect with me there.
Amazing. Thank you so very much. And is there anything we haven't touched on today that you would want our listeners to know about listing optimization? Is there anything that you kind of wish you'd said and haven't managed to get across in today's interview?
I think just very basic level. It's not an expense. It's an investment in your business and your brand. And really, just before you do anything else, make sure that your listings are set up to sell and convert, because if you don't have that fundamental piece right, then it's just going to affect the whole trajectory of your business. And I just can't emphasize how important it is to get it right.
Sound advice. Thank you so very, very much for your time today.
Thank you.
Okay.